What's happening, everybody? It's Spark here, and welcome to the second episode of my Team series. This one has been a little bit late. I've had a couple of things just going on at home. I've had to resort to the quick and easy ones, which are the breaking point videos. You've seen quite a few of you been watching the series. If you want to follow the My Team series, then do hit that subscribe button and the notification bell icon to be notified of future videos. Coming off the back of our first race in Bahrain, we nabbed some points. It was an 8th place finish for us, which was a brilliant debut for us for APS Spark Racing. However, I have a feeling that Spain isn't going to be one of those results for us because we have a car that's not particularly great aerodynamically, and you need downforce for a track like Spain. So we're nabbing on some of the power upgrades that we got from the development boost from last time out, and we're putting in different engine components, what I think for this time, having a fresher engine as it were. So what I've done as well is to spend a bit of money on the quality control of the aerodynamics, so we have a less chance of developments failing.
They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
Oh, so what we got here, personnel development, these are new.
The personnel department has asked us to deal with this. We have a couple of options here. Take your time. What you decide to do will have consequences.
So we either have a choice to up the pace or awareness of our second driver. Knowing how Matsushita is, I think we're going to go with pace.
Thanks for dealing with that. The department appreciate it.
Okay, so it looks like we get these random events now of how we choose to deal with like personnel developments and whatnot. That could either affect maybe resource allocation and, or in that case, the pace of the second driver and the acclaim as well. And actually, one thing I did notice before I hit the button to move on the calendar was that I didn't actually book any days for activities. And with a long time between the races, I thought it's a pretty idiot thing of me to do. So I will be filling that up to the brim. I think we got enough space. I mean, we have a season break, actually, because I think in between now and Spain, we had Imola and Portimao, which haven't been released yet as part of the game. So we got a little bit of time to wait, I think, for DLC there. And that leaves us with a season break to fill, and plenty of times to do in the calendar. And with those upgrades, I don't know how long they last in terms of per month, but I know it's probably, I don't know whether it's about a month or so, but we are filling up our calendar here. I'm choosing to advance time. We've got loads of upgrades actually planned for the car. Let's see how they get on. Well, that went well. Season break it is. And now back to reality, where I think still about 2 weeks until the next race in Spain, and there's still, I think, more space to fill out activities on the calendar. So, PR filming day as well, and I think we've got aerodynamic developmental focus as well. It takes them around away from the other teams, but let's face it, our aerodynamics in the car is pretty poor, so I think we've got a lot of durability focus as per the votes that came in at the start of the season, so we got to focus more on the weaker parts.
I know we were expecting some new developments to come through, but some of them have failed quality control. We'll need to tell the team what to redevelop via the R&D screen. Okay, now this is an interesting one.
Okay, so with this event, it seems that we have a choice to either accept, which boosts our team acclaim, or decline, which boosts our resource points. I think given that we had a chassis upgrade fail, I would be more inclined to go to the resource points so we can further develop the car and compensate for the lack of upgrade that we've got. So I think, all things considered, I think we may very well go for decline here. Team acclaim will help us with sponsorship, but that will come quite quickly if we drive well in the races. I think level 5 is really where we can sign our next sponsor, so I think we're going to go with decline.
Not an easy decision, but you handled it well. Thanks.
No worries, mate. You're more than welcome. More resource points for the team that way. And looking, we got him to do it. Nobuharu has finally come out of his shell. Good lad, sharing the team spirit, finally letting his hair down there as we purchased one more perk, I think, for the interview answers, because we got the funds to do it, and that puts us basically at level 1 for all of our driver perks. And then when we can put a little bit more money into upgrading the facilities later on. We got level 1 for driver perks, so upgrading the facilities now I think is going to be the bigger priority when it comes to using our funds. Now, the Spanish Grand Prix is now among us here, so let's see what happens. Will it be Spain? Will it be plain? Or will it be pain and the... I don't know where I was going with that one, just ignore me. So for Spain, we've got the development they've got the developmental tasks to think about. We don't have a setup. We're just going to go for maximum downforce and just see how things go from there. It's going to be hot one in terms of weather. We're not going to fare too badly there. So I went through the practice, and the first thing I did was I went through all the practice programs to make sure I achieved maximum there. Got purple wherever it was on. I did miss out on a couple of the sort of extra developmental tasks that we had there. So I think there was one of them I missed, was to keep the tyres under a certain temperature that you have for tyre warming. And once I finished with the race strategy program, that was pretty much it. There's not much to write about in P1, practice 1, so with that one, I just got that done out of the way, get it done for the resource points, which is what you need. So what I decided to do, because I didn't do this in Bahrain, is to put a different engine component into the car, just so I have a little bit more power, I think, going into the race. So I'm not going to go through practice 2. So what I'll just do is use quick practice. So this is a nice little feature if you just want to get to the race. So what you do, you go to the developmental targets that you've actually missed, and it gives you a chance to whether to hit them or not, and then it'll take up a certain amount of time in the session. And as you can see here, thankfully I was able to hit that developmental goal, and it's a nice way to do the practice goals without actually doing the practice goals, and that means more developmental boost. There is so much there in durability. For all you guys who voted at the beginning of this season for durability focus, I think we'd be fools not to upgrade that way, considering the amount of boost that we're about to receive. I want to be interested to see what your thoughts about, so let me know in the comment section below what you want me to do there in terms of developing the car there. As we go through into FP3, I just focused on a quali sim here. I might as well try and get some track time because, like I said, transitioning obviously from the wheel steel, and curbs on this game are just absolutely deadly. To the point where they'll just nudge you off the track almost like they were designed by Pastor Maldonado.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it. You really put a lot of effort into practice today. Are you testing new components?
Well, the curbs were testing my patience, to be honest, Claire. And with that, with the answers I'm going to go for, I think... No, it's Aero that needs to focus. We're going to go there.
You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip?
I was kind of struggling, but it's more down to me, so we're not going to blame the team on that one.
Appreciate your time.
So there we have practice, and Nobuharu's just gone back to his normal pose. Like, I don't think the team spirit's with him. Like, he's only got half our resource points that we were able to bring, so I'm not sure whether Matsushita's feeling the spirit anymore. So hopefully we can get him to do a bit more poses, if there is such a system in the game, a little bit later. So as you will see, the amount of development boosts that we've got aligned to durability is absolutely insane, which is more than what can be said for the boost we have for aerodynamics, which is where we really need to develop, and that's pretty much nowhere. We haven't got any boosts for aerodynamics at all. It would be wiser to spend the money when we've got the discounts, but what we're looking for is performance. We got things covered really with durability, so the developmental boosts are not where we need them. And I suppose for those of you who voted at the beginning of this episode for durability focus, you will be getting it, it seems. Moving on to qualifying then, we have got ourselves a bit of an interesting mountain to climb. Like, we've only just stuck to the standard setup. New engines in the car as well, and we got a car that you need a lot of aerodynamic grip for, and we don't seem to have it. So I'm not expecting us, actually I am expecting us to get our Q1 at least. We at least got the pace, I believe, in the car there, and coming out of our first lap, it's still a little bit rigid for us. I know the car needs development, but I think I also need some development coming into using the wheel. I hate the chicane though. Whenever you try to take it in time trial at anywhere flat out, unfortunately it will literally just end you. So anyone who's had the sheer experience or disappointment of tackling these curbs, you will know the pain of what it's like trying to get a decent light here on time trial and then just being, you know, as I always say, sent to the shadow realm for this. Thankfully though, this section of the lap is quite tidy. We just missed the brakes a little bit there, so we go a little bit wide. Once you get into the track, it is nice once you get the rhythm for it, but that first lap for us, I think that put us down within about 14th or so place. So not quite sure whether we've actually made it through fully into Q2. So I think we're going to have to go out again. In fact, I'm certain we will have to go out again, because I'm convinced that even Matsushita can go and beat that time. So actually, I can't really slag him off. That's probably why he doesn't do with the posters anymore. Probably don't give him enough credit. And then, as you see there, the curbs on this game are just notorious. You put one rear wheel on them, and they literally just send you over, and they are the most punishing things about this game. I know this was the infamous track where it has the curb to sort of the side of it, where you as so much as touch it, that's your entire lap gone. We managed to get through into Q2, but unfortunately Matsushita has failed to get through. So once again, it's the same story as Bahrain. We got through and Matsushita didn't. We've now got ourselves a task. Could we even get ourselves into Q3? What we're going to do is that there's no point trying to fluff it and get through on the mediums. We're going to save it until the end, where the track's rubbered in. We'll go out with enough for 2 timed runs with the soft tyre on, with hopes that we can get into Q3. I mean, we're feeling like George Russell here. Got to channel that George Russell energy to make sure we can get through into Q2. So when I finish my first lap, it's only as good as something about P14, so it's nowhere near where we want to be. I'll take you through a lap from here. Going down into the first corner, take some curb there, stay off the curb on the left hand side there. You either have to cut it, or you have to go around to the other side. There is no in between. You dare touch that and it will send you off. And just finish the first sector. We're up on our best. We go down to 4th just so we can get the turn in there for the long right hander. Stay in 6th, bring it down into 2nd for the long left-hander there. Short shift where you can into 3rd so you can get the traction as you come into the middle of the lap. Now this is the left-right chicane that I absolutely hate. We go wide just to make sure that we can stay there and it doesn't absolutely ruin our lap. We go on to 6th gear, into the 2nd DRS zone. I think we're still up on our time. It's another green sector for us, so it's a personal best. But is it enough to get through though into Q2? I'm not sure what the time is, what the cut-off point is for Q3. But however, we're just going to send it and hope for the best. With this second, with this god-awful chicane, it gives it the nickname, the Circuit de Crapalunia, as they say. Coming out of the final chicane now, we're going down to the end of the lap. I think we will cross the line. We will have to wait and see whether it's enough to get through into Q3. Have we done enough? No, we haven't. We haven't done enough. We have it's 11th place, which again is probably the best place where we can actually qualify. We have free choice of tyres, and yeah, essentially that, free choice of tyres. But I have a feeling we may not stay in. We not be able to get a points finish because, like I said, bad aerodynamics on this car. And coming into Spain, this is one which is sort of one attrition. You can't overtake either.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula One calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya then, a high-speed 2.89-mile circuit which demands an efficient downforce package and bravery on the part of the driver, especially through the blind right of turn 9, which we might just see taken flat this weekend. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here today, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
But from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you, so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Perez, Ricciardo, Lando Norris and Leclerc, Sainz, Vettel, Stroll and Joker. Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Max Verstappen. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Tsunoda, Ocon, Giovinazzi, Nobuharu Matsushita, and Kimi Raikkonen. They've taken a grid penalty. Russell, Latifi, Mazepin, and Mick Schumacher. And now it's time to head down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
Well, we're actually starting in the points. As you see, I think it was Max Verstappen that actually had a penalty. So we are in a pretty strong position, it seems. Let's see what happens for us coming through to the start of this race. Let's get overtake on, hold the clutch, wait for the lights to go out. And it's lights out, away we go. It's not too bad of a start for us. The rear end squiggles a little bit. It's a drag race between us and Lance Stroll, but Pierre Gasly behind us. What an amazing start from him. He's absolutely mugged us, absolutely done. So we go down to the first corner. We lift off and we don't risk any contact with any other guys. So we've lost the place. We're down to 11th position. It's not the end of the world for us though. There's still plenty of opportunity, I feel, to come. Even though this is one of those tracks where you just can't overtake. We have to sit behind Lance Stroll for the moment there. It's the dirty air that will really, really throw us off. And I'm still not quite there yet in terms of traction. So as you'll see in the brakes, where I close up quite well to Lance, he just rockets away from us because I'm still not quite there. Going out into this into this left-right-hand chicane, which I absolutely loathe and I can't stand. It's up between this and the last chicane are probably the two worst chicanes I feel on this game. In terms of pieces of track, they're at least better than the whole of the Sochi Autodrome. We go into lap 3. Max Verstappen is right behind us now, with DRS looming very, very closely coming up into the start of lap 3. We are not going to be able to hold him off, so there's no point in fighting him in any capacity. Unfortunately, our exit there still wasn't good. We should be able to hold him here just as long as the car holds on. And now he's actually going on the non-side of us here. He overtakes us going into turn 4, taking over to the inside, brushes us out. So it's a solid move there from Max Verstappen, but not quite the best defending thing from us. I don't think we really could defend against that, to be honest. The Red Bull is just miles ahead of us in terms of speed, and I'm nowhere near there yet in terms of transitioning to the wheel. So there's still lots and lots for me to develop as this My Team series goes on, as well as my Breaking Point episode series as well. So do check that out as well, and do follow me on Instagram, as well as a guy called Dan Talks F1. He's pretty cool. So there we have it then. We're coming on to lap 5 of the Spanish Grand Prix, which so far has been Spain without the S, and looking coming for us here. Oh, for God! Yep, just like I said with these curbs, they're absolutely notorious. And oh, we're off again! No, no, no! Finally. It looks like we got through this here in one piece. Thankfully, the Nova was. Oh, for fuck! Oh my God! Jesus Christ, this game is just a lot more punishing than what I thought it was going to be. So, sorry about the massive amount of flashbacks, but I think they're necessary, I think, for me as I get through this. Coming through into the end of episode 7, we are now wrapped up in a battle with Fernando Alonso now. Alonso is just coming into the pit, so we have to absolutely send it here on this in-lap just to make sure we stay ahead of the two-time champion, who has just turned 40 at the moment, so happy birthday to him. But let's try to blow out the candles here, because we have got to come out ahead of the two-time champion. I don't think our outlap has been the greatest in terms of what we can do. As you see, they're not exactly personal best that we're setting coming into the pit lane now. So here we go, we're switching on to the medium tyre. We've done well, I think, in terms of stint. We're going to have plenty of life left coming through to the end of the race. We actually changed the speed limit for kilometres, and oh, that's the thing, Nobuharu Matsushita I think is actually pitting behind us as well. So I think our change in strategy is unfortunately going to cost him. So I don't want to say that there are team orders here or favouritism, but it's kind of my team. So
look after these tyres now.
Sorry, bro.
Finish the race on this compound.
Let's see how well that pays for us then. Alonso, as you see, is not too far left. Looks like he's just come out in front of us there. We have lost out to Alonso there in the Alpine. Not good for us, but this is also a hard track as well to overtake. So do we have enough pace to hunt down and pass the Spaniard to regain our 11th position? We've fallen now down to a net P12 on lap 8 out of 17 of this 25% Spanish Grand Prix of our My Team series. You can see whenever in brake zones we can stay with him, but he gains a couple of tenths in the traction zones, which is where I'm really weak at in terms of my driving style. And even with DRS, I've got overtake to knock, because I don't think I'm actually going to pass him here, even with overtake, so I decided to leave the overtake for another opportunity. And as you can see, the amount of dirty air, just the amount of problems that's causing us. See, we really go wide trying to stay with the Alpine. It's just there, the white line we take, I missed my braking zone, and that just cost me massively. But mind you, I probably would have lost just as much time if I would have just laid in this dirty air. So we are not in an ideal position, stuck behind another car. And you know what it's like in Spain, it's not very good following another car, because you can barely pass. It's like very much like Singapore, it's very much like Sochi, it's very much like Abu Dhabi, which killed the championship, ironically, for Alonso in 2010. We've stayed with him though, so I think we're going to get a helping of the DRS this time though, but actually he's pulled out way ahead of us here, so we have not got the, we're not close enough to actually attempt an overtake. Even though we are setting personal bests, we've still got plenty of life in the tyres, so there's not even much point in going there for the overtake. So we just lost it a little bit while coming there. We go over the sleeping policeman. Thankfully it doesn't spin our car into oblivion. We are now still about a second behind Fernando Alonso, in hoping there that we can stay with him. So unfortunately we come through to lap 15 and Alonso was unfortunately just pulled away from us. We haven't really been able to make the kind of impression that we wanted to make against the Spaniards. Oh, and we've spun. Unfortunately this has not gone well. We have spun once more time. This really has been, it's been bad. It's been a bad race for us, this Spanish Grand Prix. I actually let this one stick, so I've got to have some kind of punishment for my mistakes. So we have now dropped behind Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri. We've got Antonio Giovinazzi coming up behind us now in the Alfa Romeo, and with washed out tyres, and he's got DRS. So we are we're struggling here. Antonio was already past us. We actually cancelled the overtake because I think we knew we were going to lose that battle. But staying with him there, and Alfa Romeo is a easier car to pass than the Alpine in terms of the performance charts as I've seen through my team. So if we can stay with him, and make sure that we're ready to strike in the last DRS zone come to the end of lap 17, we could take the position back at least in Giovinazzi. I mean, this is about as good as it's going to get. I mean, with the million amount of mistakes I made, it's been a very, very poor showing for me as team owner. We come up to DRS, and like I said, we didn't gain enough room there to try and make the overtake. So we, like I said there, we're closing up to him and then the corners. We run wide, but unfortunately Alfa Romeo just gets away from us. We've got a Honda engine in the back of this, but I don't think it's quite powerful enough yet to contend with the Ferrari, which by all means was an absolute tractor this time last year. So they've clearly made some developments there, but we are attempting to stay with him, and we are not unfortunately going to go anywhere. So I think Matsushita as well is down below there. This has been a bad race for us. I mean, we're not going to score any points here. We're not going to cover myself in glory. So I have let the team down, unfortunately, because my driving just hasn't quite been there. I've been lucky. Obviously, we've had the flashbacks to sort us out in terms of the many mistakes, which I hope made for a funny compilation for when you watched. But we are here for results. Unfortunately, it's been a bad one so far for us. We're not going to finish in the points, and we are stuck behind the Alfa Romeo of Giovinazzi. We go wide there again, which shows how hard it is to follow, I think, on this game. As we come across the line, now this race has been solidified. Spain without the S.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot. A well-earned victory for Mercedes. Let's have a quick look at how the driver standings have changed. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Anthony Davidson, who do you pick?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend from them as they fight their way towards the top. Well, that was certainly an incredible weekend of racing. Be sure to join myself and Ant for more exciting Formula One action soon.
So, unfortunately, just not our day for APS Spark Racing. We lost. It was just a scruffy race for me all around. They just didn't do particularly well. Didn't quite set out the way I wanted it to be. But Spain isn't my favourite track as well. But the next one, luckily, is Monaco. Yay! So that's going to go particularly well. We lose our sort of cash bonus there, so add only about 50k to our funds at the team. With 1.43, we could probably look to develop. Another quality control aspect for one of the facilities, which will definitely help us. But I think simultaneous upgrades may very well be needed, especially since we've got so many things to do with the aerodynamics of our car. So thank you guys very much for watching. This has been episode 2 of my Team series. So if you're a fan of the episode and you want to see more, then do hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell icon to be notified of future videos. So stay tuned as well for my Breaking Point series. So my general playthrough that is coming through later on. Hopefully by Sunday we should have my next episode done and dusted by there. But as for now, it's back to the drawing board to lick our wounds for APS Spark Racing for the next race in Monaco. I will decide on what to upgrade next, and do stick around stay tuned for the next video when that comes out. So thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Spark, you guys have been Brill, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.